Welcome to another final episode of Snowcat time.
Snowcat.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, we did play a dirty trick on you and made it clickbaity. So that was fun for us to watch. Also, some of you guys brought up some cool questions. Some of you guys, I mean, when I say some, it's like 2 or 3 people left some really raunchy, nasty boy comments. And we're sorry to those people we've offended, but we're still just going to do what we do anyway, so it's not like it matters a whole lot. A lot of people were saying stuff about the fuel lines. A lot of people were saying about cutting corners on the wiring. A lot of people were saying stuff, you know, there was a lot of questions about that kind of stuff. I don't have the comments in front of me, but it was all the gist. What you guys got to understand is those last 3 videos where we were doing a crunch. We were doing a 3-day crunch. We just wanted to hear the thing run. That's all we were kind of working on. At the end of that 3-day crunch, we knew that we needed a couple of key components. Our shifter wasn't going to work out. We needed grommets for some stuff. I mean, it was just like a bunch of just arbitrary, tiny stuff. So now we're just going to wrap this bad boy up. So come on over here and check out this new box. Oh, P.S. We still love you guys. Even though some spicy comments are on it. This is our transmission dipstick tube, which we needed one because the steel one was like not gonna work.
No.
The creme de la creme. If you watched, I think it was episode, if it was either 7 or 6, we were talking about the shifter and I was putting off the shifter and yada yada yada. Well, the reality is there was no way to make that shifter work because of the angle of the dangle, essentially. That rod was this high, the shifter was down here, and it was just gonna bend and cause us issues. So, looked up these guys, these low car. So this is the shifter we had already bought. You guys have already seen that a million times with the push button. Somebody said that the push button was gonna be hard with gloves on. You don't really wear gloves in the Snowcat. The thing's got climate control.
It's got a heater.
It's hot in there. Like you're not wearing like all this stuff in there. Like maybe people thought we were. I don't know.
I still think the button would work fine even with gloves.
Well, the button's big. Don't want to spend too much time talking about the stupid button, but it was just funny what people were picking up on and getting upset about. That button is huge. A gloved hand.
It's bigger than his thumb.
Yeah, a gloved hand could get that. Plus, you guys, the other thing is too that I wanted to bring up is this isn't our Snowcat. This is a customer Snowcat. We're building this for other people, not ourselves. So the shifter, we didn't have a choice like that. You know, some of this stuff on here was just rushing. Some of it was buying parts. You know, it's just the way it is. Okay. So
how building goes.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take the blame for it, sure, but whatever. But just as long as everybody knows, this isn't all our stuff. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. Low car. Guess what they make, Derek?
What do they make?
I bet you want to know, don't you?
I do want to know.
Come here, take a peek. That's a cable kit. You know what that means, right?
That means it's going to work really good.
That means we can mount the shifter wherever we want. That means
we
the
just put it on the roof.
Yeah, well,
almost.
You can't because it's only this long. But that means the shifter can go wherever we want in that tunnel area. So this is going to work perfect. We'll have this connected to the transmission. This is going to connect to the shifter. We're going to set that bad Jesse right in the middle of the floor. Amen, brother. That's going to work great. I can hear the bald eagles already. So, more low car box. That's just shifter stuff. Who cares? Some self tappers, the hose thing. Oh yeah, back to the fuel tank. We were literally only doing that just to run it. We obviously need to run a return, but we're gonna have to pull the fuel cell out to do that completely. So if you can see, kind of the fuel cell right there underneath the exhaust pipe. It is a business to get to that, boys. So that fuel cell is cradled in there, and it has to go through the floor into the cab.
And it's absolutely gigantic.
It's huge.
What do you think that holds? 50 gallons?
It's big. It's a big boy. So for now, we're just, to get it to move around and do stuff, we're just gonna wire or just do the return to the back and the fuel pump on. You would never do that because the return's gonna have trouble. It has to fight. Basically, the return's gonna have to fight the gravity of all the fuel that's in the tank. So a lot of that stuff we didn't explain very well because I don't know if anyone's it's super hard to film and rush and try to do all this at the same time. So looking back at it, it was my bad for not explaining some of this stuff a little bit better. Let's go in here to this part to kind of explain this. So this, everyone was like, oh no, the boots are gonna kick the deal and like yada yada yada. We're obviously gonna make a skid plate for it, or like a foot plate. It's just gonna bend here and go up, so you can rest on the foot plate. Even if you had water or something like that, you'd have to try pretty hard. Like, there's quite a bit of space in here to get a bunch of water in here.
and there's no room to put that thing anywhere else. Like, it's,
no, you got a blower motor, and then you've got this flat spot here. But the way that the harness was, is this was kind of the only spot, and that's where they recommended to put it too. They're thinking mount it in the, normally you'd mount it in like the glove box or something, but we don't really have room for that. So necessity, just something we did. Like, it's gonna be fine. Everyone calm down. Here's our rod that we're never gonna use again.
Bye.
But yeah, we're gonna mount this. This is gonna be our fuse box that's gonna go in here. We gotta make a bracket for it because our new dash covers all that stuff up. But yeah, the reason why we came in here, these wires are all sitting here because we always do a dry run. And a dry run is basically, we're gonna put power on the system. We're gonna make sure our systems check, all boots up. And I responded to somebody in a comment on this. Yeah, that's just to check it out. We just wanna see, make sure everything works. And then we tuck the harness, because if you tuck all the harness, I mean, we've done a bunch of these swaps and we're good at what we do, but like, if you tuck all that harness and you have a problem, you're gonna be pissed off that you have to tear the whole thing back apart to try to diag something. So that's the reason why we do it like that. Also, I love that you guys make a bunch of comments though. I love that everyone's paying that close of attention. Let's go to the back here. Everyone was super bent out of shape about the kill switch being on the positive, and that was probably my fault for not explaining that that's not obviously what we were going to do. That was a joke about mounting the kill switch on the power. It was just the editing, whatever, it didn't get very well received. If you look in here, you can see the, maybe zoom in, I don't know, we have to climb in there. The kill switch is on the negative's going right there, the battery's right there. People said sealed box, blah blah blah, stuff like that.
We have a sealed box.
We have a sealed box.
Don't worry, guys.
Everybody breathe.
We do kind of know what we're doing.
A little bit, yeah. We try anyway. I mean, we build cool cars and stuff. We know how it works. The reason why the box wasn't installed when we put the battery in was because the only battery that we have charged right now is not the size of the box. So we either need to build a bigger box.
Giant battery, little box.
Or we need to, you know, fix that. So no big deal there. Oh, look who's here. It's the treasure man. I love treasures. Yeah, so, and we did a keyed. If you look at it, it's got the key on here.
It's kind of hard to see from back here.
Yeah, quote unquote security purposes. You gotta look real close. Boom, it's right there. Check her out. So, back to the fuel cell thing. It's under the carpet, so we gotta pull the carpet completely up. There's an access plate here, and then you gotta actually slide the whole fuel cell through here. So it's gonna be kind of a chore, and that's why we're not doing that right now. We will get to it, don't worry. For the last episode, using my YouTube stuff. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm big excited.
I'm big excited. So, last episode, we are going to be addressing our intake situation. Probably do a unicorn horn for now. We'll have to bend something custom for it later, but the goal of this is just to hear this guy start up and maybe move under its own power.
I'm tired of pushing it.
I don't want, it's so hard to move. So we've got everything pretty much checked out. Someone was mad about our ground strap being here, which is kind of part of the dry run thing, but kind of I don't mind it being there at all. I think that's fine. I guess somebody was upset about it, so just addressing it. As you can see here, this is our return fuel line that we're gonna route. Oh, people were talking about the wires. That's what it was. Oh yeah, all of our wires. Guys, all those are gonna get mounted. Everything's cool. The grommets we have for the power wires that we put in there, all this stuff, come under here, you can check it out. Here's our main battery ground. Just kind of goes there. We showed you that. This power wire is going through the floor. We cut a 7/8 hole. We got 7/8 grommets. So we're gonna slide those through. People were super mad about this. This clamp was really what was holding it in. And I guess maybe my humor's a little dry. You know, this is a new relationship. We're still learning about each other. This is obviously a joke. We're not doing that. I don't know if you guys could see the second clamp wasn't even put on all the way. But we have two of these bolt-on clamps, so we're going to self-tap to this, and that'll all be mounted. People were also saying stuff about the rubber fuel lines over distance, and we've honestly never had an issue. As long as they're braided lines, you're fine. As long as they got the stuff inside. So if we're not fine, then you guys win, and I guess you get internet trophy. What do they get, Derek?
I don't know.
Tell them what they get, Derek.
I don't even know what they get.
I don't know. The satisfaction.
Yeah.
So, quick breakdown of what we're going to do today. We're going to finish buttoning up a couple wiring things. We're going to finish whatever our faux mounting of this, and we're going to start this thing. That's our only goal. Just start it. I just want to hear it run. The rest of this stuff we'll button up, and we'll kind of work our way through all those too. But we already know you guys aren't going to want to watch it anymore after it starts, so we really got to cling on to it as much as we can. Now that we've talked about all the things that everyone was upset about, we're just going to dry fire this thing right now. So I'm just going to hook all these hoses up. However, this is our infinitely long return line right now until we run it. Hey Derek, will you grab me a screwdriver? So we talked about that ghetto fuel line deal, but since we had this sweet fitting right here and that worked out really well, we can actually take that off. I don't know if you can see any of that. So before we had just slid this over the return line, no barb or anything, just to try to dry fire it. We've had a couple times to order stuff, so we ordered a new adapter. So this is the adapter on the fuel rail, and then that's the adapter to barb fitting. And these are trick too. So this is like the lock in place. There's like a lubed up thing in there, and these bad boys just slide over the top. It's like so satisfying too. They just whoop, locks right on there. And then with that little knurl on the end of the fuel line, you just skate that thing over the top and then thread her in. Then it clamps down. Sealed unit. The shop right now, like, we're based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, but we also have a second location in Jerome, Idaho. I don't know if you remember in the last videos we were talking about, you know, there were earthquakes. There was so many earthquakes happening. We have all of our stuff lowered off the lifts, like it was crazy because we don't really have earthquakes in Utah. So with the whole quarantine yourself, yada yada, I decided to go to the shop in Idaho. We took a couple projects with us, which you'll see in some of the other videos. We've just been working up there. But then, yep, sure as heck, we were up there and we had a 6.3 magnitude? 6.5 magnitude earthquake just north of us in Idaho. And so you just gotta wonder, you know, like, what were we getting away from?
Nothing. You're getting away from nothing.
Plus, like, when we're done with the Snowcat, what are you guys gonna watch, you know? Maybe leave some ideas for our next project.
All right, guys, so I know a lot of you guys were asking also what is inside the Snowcat. We're gonna do a little tour while Anthony finishes up wiring for the start. So here in the back here, so it's just these theater style seats. In the back can fit 6 people back here, and then the front cab up there. We'll go up there and take a look. We're doing a tour.
Oh, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm basically a permanent fixture in this thing, it feels like.
And then, yeah, just here's the main cab that you guys have seen in the last video where we were setting up the dash. So
it's really small. Like, it's so tiny in here.
yeah, up front it is really, really small.
That's our board that runs everything. So right now what I'm doing is sticking, that is the starter. So that's a momentary starter switch. Hooking her up right there. So that means we now have starter signal, which is awesome. So now we've got main ECU power right here. We've got starter signal right there. We need to put a ground wire on the board, and then we need to try to start it. Hooray! There we go. Okay. This thing has on and off switches for the gas tank. There we go. Now go up to those lines that we just did and see if it's pissing any fuel.
You can hear it.
Oh yeah, it's probably rushing fuel through there now.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a leak right here. Our return line is leaking. Oh, we just must not have tightened that clamp. But fuel pump works. Whew, pumping a lot of fuel. So we're good there. So we know we got fuel. So now we need starter signal and spark. So since we're returning here just for testing purposes, I turned those off when I was installing it.
That's where there's all that back pressure.
That's why I had all the pressure.
Yeah.
Now let's try it. I bet it works perfect now. There we go. She's doing God's work. Look at the filter. You see it straight ahead? I don't think there's any fuel leaking anywhere else. I think we're good. Sounds like we're good. So now we just have to run a power wire from here, which is our power bank, or from somewhere. It's so lame that it doesn't have power.
I know.
It's got power in and signal out, so we have to run a signal out wire to the fuel pump. We can just ground it to the chassis, that's not a big deal. We're gonna need like the world's smallest flathead to do this. Set these switches on. Stroke my beard like a scientist. What's going on here? So here's our dash that you've already seen, right? Got our display here and our switches here. Now, this is what's clever about this, is all that runs out of there is this little ribbon cable from the switch panel, and then this, it's like an HDMI cable basically. And that hooks into the wiring harness right here. And the ribbon cable hooks into our switch panel, our arc panel right there. So we've got key on main power, we've got starter signal. Fuel pump I wired right here to the back of the relay thing that they provided. The rest of this will all get sorted out. First, like I said, dry runs, we just leave it all open like this. Because if we tuck it and do it like all perfect, and then if something's wrong, oh man, gotta tear that whole pretty thing apart, you know? So we're just gonna start it like this for now. So we got our panel hooked up. We got oil. Derek put oil in the motor. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, we just need to tighten the ECU down, put a little tranny fluid in it, and then let's just fire this thing up. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, the neutral safety switch I think has to be in too. I don't think it'll start without a neutral safety switch. We've got power. No wonder the ECU wouldn't power up. So I didn't have the dang ECU ground hooked up. Always something. Probably splashing the entire inside of that thing right now. So this is our drill pump, and it's sweet for doing this kind of stuff. I think it's just as fast on too. So when you don't want to pour each individual quart through a funnel and wait 100 years for it, you can just do this pump. Stop touching it. Don't touch it. There you go. Oh, that's why it's stuck in the bottom here. This is what we bought. This is our transmission dipstick. We'll just build a little mount to mount it right there, and bam, problem solved. You know what we forgot? All of us, everyone? We forgot an oil dipstick. So this could get messy here quick for this fire startup. We might be spilling a little, huh?
I bet I could get a magnet to stick on the top of it.
Yeah, go grab one. Magnet order. We've got about 20 gallons more coolant than we needed and 6 quarts less training fluid than we needed. But our helpers are nice, okay? So you leave them out of this. I think we've gone to the auto parts store like 20 times. It's been 20 times. Brad, how many? Brad's, you've gone to the parts store for us even.
Yeah.
Brad's just a camera guy and video editor. And, he's our resident sexy guy. We keep him around for good looks. So, first casualty, as always, the one thing we didn't replace on the whole motor, the water pump. And it's just weeping.
It's bad.
Because we were like, oh, you know, not a big deal, whatever, yada yada. We probably saved this because it's good. Wrong. So now we got a new one of those coming. But that shouldn't stop us from starting this thing. I think the only thing, did you get the magnet on there?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Show you that.
It's not ghetto if it works.
Where is it? Let's see if we can
And
see
what are
it.
those magnets called?
Neodymium?
Look under. Yeah, it's. Can you see? It's like a shiny.
Yep, right there.
Yeah, it's just on there. That's a shiny boy right there.
Well, we got sick of the pump.
Yeah, that was taking forever.
So
Now I'm just making a mess, spilling it everywhere.
Oh, is it done?
For now. It's pretty full now. I'm stinky. I smell like every fluid you can put in a motor. Let's fire it up. Loading gauges. Okay. Press and drag to toggle. Okay, we're getting 0 miles to the gallon. We got coolant temp, we got everything. Dude, it rocks the thing. Can you see it? Yeah. Watch this. That's basically first start.
yeah.
The reason why it wouldn't kick over perfect is we had a vacuum leak. Derek right now is fixing the vacuum leak.
He's got his finger.
Look at this, our gauges are working, it's showing RPM. It's running. Derek, it's doing the thing. Now you stay there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sounds pretty cool too. We might have, does that look wet right there to you? Yeah,
I'm wet on the front, on all four corners.
all four. Did we put the gaskets in there?
Yeah, they're in there. Maybe they're just not tight enough.
Are they not tight? Yeah. Dude, this thing's rowdy. It's like vroom, vroom, vroom.
It's turning.
I guess this is a conclusion video. This is yeah, we're gonna clickbait title the thing, because if you're watching to the end, then it's gonna be like a clickbaity. First start catastrophe. Basically, we have a bad water pump, which is absolutely dumb because it's the only thing we didn't replace, and we knew better. And it's cool because we just proved ourselves right, didn't we, Derek?
Always replacing.
Because we know better, but we did it anyway. And yeah, it did that. So there you go. Our steam ports are leaking, all four of them. We have no idea why, but it's causing another coolant leak. We got a weird rattle coming from the transmission. We think maybe it's because it's low on fluid. And we have a lot of research to do on this hydraulic thing. Did you video the turning?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had it turning, it started. We still need to put our shifter in. We still need to add a shifter plate. So I guess stay tuned for the next episode where we actually get to drive this thing around.